Hi, I'm here today to build on the theme that we were talking about yesterday, which is that the Power Query feature in Excel, even in 2026, is extremely powerful, especially as for automating ETL, extraction, transformation, and loading of files. And yesterday's session, we were trying to see that if we were to do a series of activities and record a Power Query, how do we use it further, right? How can we call for it and use it in other files further? Today, what we'll look at is 20 most important and most common cleaning that we do using Power Query. Okay. What I have created is a very simple, PDF in which I have put down how to do these steps so that, it's like a ready reckoner. In case you want it, you can see the link in the description. It's a Google Drive link, and there you will find this particular PDF as well as all the files that I'll be using in this session. So let's get learning. So let's start with the first part, which is how do we import different kinds of data into the file. So of course, we know that the easiest way is to go to get data and from the file and start importing data. Let's see in this demo data section, do we have any data, which is an Excel file? Yes, we have two datas, which are Excel files. Okay, so we can import them in. Yeah, right. So, or we can say select multiple items if we had multiple data points. So one is this. Yeah. We will make all the changes later. Again, in the data tab, get data from file, and let's look at text or CSV files. So we have sales in the month of Jan, Feb, and March. Just showing you one by one how it would work. Okay. And then let's look at importing in from a database. If there was a server or a database, we could do it from here. Here, what we really have is from the web. If there was a URL, we could have just put it. So just demonstrating to you that we could have got the data from many, many places, right? From a PDF. These are the common sources that you must be having. So just showing you that it's very easy to get multiple sets of data from different sources all into the same Excel file. So it's saying that these are the two options that we have. What do we want to bring in? We could bring in both or we can bring in one. So if we say we want to select multiple options, it would allow us to load into different sheets. You can try it for any other set of data also. Please go ahead and check it out. Okay. Now, one of the things we would want to do and we commonly do when we are cleaning data is we want to remove unnecessary columns. So let's go here in the products query. We want to remove the temp flag column header. We just want to remove it and see. So let's go back and see what we can do here. So this is still loading. Let's give it a bit of time. Now here we can see that this is all loaded into the data model. And over here in the customers, we can see we want to remove this row. This is just a null row. It seems to have come by mistake. Okay. So we can just go here and so we can just choose for remove blank rows and remove this particular row. Remove rows. So I want to remove two rows, 1 and 2. Okay. And then I have this data out here. Now I am not sure if I removed the right row, so I just go back and check. Okay. So the 1 and 2 row removal actually led to the second row removal also. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll just remove row 1. Okay. In this, I will delete this step. I made a mistake and I'll just go and say remove top row and it'll ask me which row. I'll just say 1. Okay. Then the second thing is that I can use the first row as header. So I'll just go ahead and do it. So this has sort of cleaned up my data. I've already removed any blank rows over here. Okay, another common thing that we want to do. Let's see the next one, which is sales January. Here things seem to be much better. You can see that because I have gone to the view which I had shown last time and also looked at the column quality and the column distribution, I get a bit more information to see, right? I can see that the missing values, errors, etc. for each of the columns in my data. Now let's look at this table. Here again, we see that the header has come in correctly. Looks fine. And just a cursory glance into this particular table, which is again page 01, which is the employee directory regional. And here I can see that, there is again this particular problem that this is the header, but the row 1 has information which is pretty useless, but it's there. So one of the things that I would want to do is to go here and go to the home tab and remove the rows, remove the top row, and here say that I want to remove row number 1. Okay. Again, the same thing. Use the first row as headers and here you go. Okay. So it's really very simple to remove rows. If there were blank columns, we could have removed columns also. You can see over here, you have remove columns and you can give, if you go to remove columns, it will ask you which column to remove. It has removed the column on which my cursor was, the first column. I just can go back and here I have gone back to having all the data. Okay. So it's easy to looking at the applied steps. We can decide if we want to skip a step, delete it, etc. So it's really very easy. And if I feel confident about it, I can say close and load, and it will load up the information into the Excel, right? Now, one of the things which people complain about is sometimes that these type of tables which have come in from PDFs, etc., we can't see them. So what we want to do is to actually load them, right? What we want to do is to load them into the worksheet. Okay. So if we go here, and we go here, we can say load to, and it'll ask where do you want to load to. Currently, it's added in the data model, but it's not available in the workbook. So I say load to a table here, and it will then start loading this data, right? So it will be visible over here. I can name it as I want. Here again, this is something which is not loaded over in the scheme of things. So what I want to do is to go to this. So after it's done, it is loaded to a worksheet and to the data model. You can see that. Now, what I have realized after loading both the tables into Excel is actually these tables are exactly the same. And maybe what I want to do is to delete one of them. So I can actually delete this table. Okay. So it'll ask that, are you sure you want to delete this table? You say yes. And from your data model, this table has gone. Okay. Now we can look at certain other things that we might want to do. Like here we have employee ID, employee name, region, department, and hire date. And here we have order ID, order region, right? Customer ID, product ID, etc. So if we want to change the order of the columns, we can just drag and drop. Now here I want to change the header name itself. From cust ID, I want to make it customer ID. I can just right click and I can just replace the name. So I can go here, rename, and I can make it. Yeah. So these are small things. You will find it very intuitive once you start seeing this. I can close and load. Right. So here you can see this is the table which remains, and this is from a table which we have deleted over there. So we can just delete this. Okay, and rename this as employees. Right. And we can save this data. You would see that the change we made in the Power Query has worked here also, and we can see it in our Excel sheet. At any point, for me to go back to the Power Query editor, you can always go to the Get Data, and under here, you can launch the Power Query editor. So it will take you back to your model. Now, suppose I wanted to add an index column over here. I can, under add column, you will notice that you can insert columns of different kinds, including one which is called an index column. It will start giving you a serial number. Okay, so it allows you to count out or give a serial number to the customers, etc., employee columns, etc. So it is very easy to use and ensure further structure in your data. So I'm pushing it out here in the front of things. So I start off with the index column and then the customer ID, first name, and the like. If we want to build any other type of column also, we can. Suppose is active and we have got a lot of things out here. It's 1, yes, y, 0, n, no, right? So there are multiple items that we have over here and we might want to change it. So let's see how we can change these and rename them. There are many of them. So here's the entire list. So 0 is also N, is also no. 1 is also Y, is also Y, is also yes. In Excel, we would have done a replace. So let's go and do the same thing over here. We go into replace values. Okay, value to find is 0. And what do you want to replace it with? I want to replace it with a no. Okay. Then here, again, I've chosen this column and I can go ahead and do another replace over here. So I say I want a 1. And if that's a 1, I want to replace it with a yes. We can look at the advanced options also when you want to match entire cell contents, if there's a long word, etc., that you want to replace. So here you go. You can see that all the zeros and ones are gone and now we are only left with the numeric. Similar way, we could standardize it further. I'm sure that you understood what I'm saying. Of course, at all times, what you want to do is close and load so that whatever you have done can be uploaded back into the Excel sheet on which you're working. So here you go, is active, and you can notice that, all the zeros and ones have gone. And if we wanted, we could have replaced further on. Like we changed the name and renamed the column header, we can do so even for our data sets. So if I want to rename this, and as we've done over there, we want to call it employee data set, right? So we can do that. Okay. It says that it's going to rename everything out here. In the hire date, I really want to only retain it in form of a of the year of hire. That's what's important for me. So what I do is I can go and I can say transform, and I want to transform the year into a year format. So here you can see another way of doing it is I could have duplicated this column, and in the new duplicate column, I could have kept only the year, right? Now I can also add a conditional column. So I can go to add and I can add a conditional column. So I want to say before, band year of hire. So hire date is less than 2020. Then I want to call them old employees, else I want to call them new employees. Okay. Otherwise, I want to call them freshers. Okay. So this is something I can do. Here I can add in a column, and it's very, very easy to do all such things. As I said, again, the easy thing to do is to close and load, and you will see all these changes which will happen into your data out here in the Excel sheet. Now I have a file called products, which is a text file. And from that, I want to be able to take out the products and merge it with the customers. So again, the idea is just the same. We go to get data and launch the Power Query editor. And no, maybe before this, what we can do is get data. And from a text or CSV file, here we have products. Yeah. And I want to load this. Okay, so here I have another file over here. I go back, get data, and launch the Power Query editor. So here we notice that here we can see the product file here also, right? So you have a product ID, a product name, cost, and some details out here. And if we were to look at customers also, in the customer ID we have, as well as we have phone number, last name, first name, and customer ID. So there is no way that we can merge these two, right? There's no common primary key. Starts with product ID, category, Okay. So we won't be able to do this merge. We should understand the process that we have to have a primary key just the way we need it in Excel for a VLOOKUP. Okay, let's so this is not something which we can do. But we did notice that we have sales Jan 2026. We wanted to get in some more data from some Excel files. Okay, or it is maybe some CSV files. Yeah. So we have Jan. Let's get in Feb. Okay. And of course, we can get in March also. Here you will notice that we have this option of merge queries. But what we really want to do is append, which is put one under the other. Okay. And which are the tables? We want Jan and this and okay, let's append the queries as new into a new file. Okay. Sales Jan and sales Feb. Okay. And let's create a new file. Okay. This we can rename as sales Jan and Feb, right? And what we want to do here is to look at all the data together. So if we were to look at this, there are 157 distinct values and 84 unique values. Okay, that's what it's showing. Okay. And so we made one mistake, Now, when we put all the data together, we don't know which of the data is coming from Jan and which of the data is coming from Feb, right? So what we might want to do is to actually insert a column saying month, into our original data and then do the append. So I'll just delete this. Okay. So we have this data, and what we would want to do is to add a new column, right? Add a column. This is a custom column. Okay, we want to call it month. And I just want to call it Jan. Okay. So I have a month Jan. Similarly, I would want to create a month column here and add in Feb. Okay. So now in both these tables, I have added the month, and now we can go ahead and append the queries. We want to create a new file which has the sales of February and the sales of January. Okay. And we have the appended file, and here you can see that you have the month of Jan and Feb. Now, similarly, we could have appended for March and April and May, etc., etc. And of course, what we want to do is to call this Jan or total sales. Okay. And next month also, when we have a new file, we can just bring it into this Excel from a new source, add a new source. And then when we have that table in, we can just append it into this same place. Of course, what we want to do is close and load. Okay. And we'll get the total sales file. So I think this gives you a very clean idea of how many things and how easy it becomes to do all these things if we are using Power Query. Now, another very important thing that we end up doing often as a part of data cleaning is merging the data together. So let's see here, we would want to see that which are the customers who are there in our database who have given us sales in Jan and Feb, and which of them haven't. So what do I want to do is actually I want to merge the queries. Okay, my total sales table with my customer table. And here, what is the primary key? Customer ID, customer ID. Now it says that all from the first and the matching from the second. Is that what we want? All the sales that has happened for us and from them the matching one? Or do we want, you have all the different type of joins. So we can also say only the matching rows. So that means that if the customer ID is there in the sales table and in the customer ID table, then okay. So let's do it like this and say okay. Okay. And what do we see that in the sales table, we have got some extra columns which have got created for us. Okay. So it sort of tells us that this customer is there in the customers table, yes or no. Okay. Okay. So in the merging also, there are many other type of options that we can do. We can merge queries as new, and this often makes a lot of sense. So again, if we were to do just this is the total sales, and from the customer table, I know that this is the customer ID. And what I really want is some other information also. And I say that let's merge it. Okay. So it will actually create a new merge table with information from all these. Okay. So there are multiple such things we can do over here. And I'm sure that as you are going to check, like one of the things you can do is to remove duplicates. You can choose on what item you want, like the order ID region, we may not want to, but on order ID, we may not want a duplicate, right? You can't have two orders with the same ID. A lot of such stuff in transformation we can do with Power Query. And as I said, at all of the times, like one of the common ones over here is group by. So what you want to do is to actually look at sales column and group by, and you want to do by, say, order status. Okay. So what do you want? So we can see it has created a new table, which is the order status table, and how many values are there, the count. Okay. So how many orders are in pending, completed, test, cancelled. So this is something which is really, really easy to do. And it really provides a lot of value. As I said again, the thing to remember is if you go to close and load, it will actually create all these tables into your Excel sheet for your further usage. Now, just one more thing that we want to do is that we want to check that if we were to add a new month of data, can we just append the new month into the total sales file, and will it then update all the other files that we have created around it? Okay, so this is something which we really would want to see, and this is your task. So go ahead try it out and see that, does this work out like that? See here, it has put this chart out here, na, pending, completed, test, cancelled. These are the counts, and then here you go. This is what it is in the total sales table. Okay, so go ahead and try your hand at it. As I mentioned in the description, you will find the files that have been used, as well as the PDF, which will guide you through these steps that we often do. If there is anything at any point which you feel I can help you with, I do hope you will reach out to me, especially drop me a comment. And it's always good to hear from you. Thank you.